take a comfortable seat on your mat. Sit up on a block if that helps you to release through the hips or support your knees. Come and lay down on your back if that's more comfortable for you. And take a few moments to connect to your breath. As you let your eyes close, let that softening of your gaze help you to turn your focus in towards your breath. And notice how, as you feel into the rhythm of your inhale and your exhale, that experience of your breath inside your body changes. As you start to pay attention to the space inside your body, let that not only help to shift your focus away from the events, the stresses of the outside world, but also to help you feel through that sense of space a little more lightness and freedom inside your body, so that you can let your mind soften into the movement of your breath and the lightness and the space around your heart. You may notice that the stresses of the last few weeks have caused you to curl in, to compress the space in the center of your body. Let connecting to your breath help you to brighten and expand that space from the inside, allowing each exhale to help you connect down through the fronts of the sitting bones, and each inhale to help you broaden both across your low back and across your collarbones, so that as you create space, you're balancing it between the fronts and the backs of your body. As you breathe, see if you can let each exhale begin from the bottom of your lungs and move up towards the top. You may feel that that helps you to connect down a little more deeply through the sitting bones and to find a little more lift and space up through the center of your body. And keeping that support, keeping a little bit of that energetic contraction that the exhale brings, let each inhale begin from the tops of your lungs and move down towards the bottom, so that this flow of your breath helps to support and reinforce that feeling of lightness and space both through the back body and the front body, and a feeling of groundedness and strength as you lengthen all the way up through the crown of your head. And let those two opposite flows, as they merge through the center of the body, help you to find a place where the shoulders feel like they gently soften back, and where it feels like your entire spine, all the way up through your neck to the crown of your head, all the way down and out as if you had an imaginary tail connecting you to the earth, have the space and support it needed to find a place that feels light and free. Take a couple more deep, full inhales and complete exhales. Again, experimenting with allowing that feeling of your exhale drawing from the bottom up and your inhale flowing from the top down to help you experience your breath maybe in a different way. Let your eyes soften open, keeping your gaze soft to continue to direct your focus towards how things feel inside your body. Continuing to work with that balancing action of the breath, letting each exhale help you to connect in through the front body, each inhale to help you to make space across the low back to support a little more freedom through the upper body and the chest. Let your arms come forward, interlace your fingers. Turn the palms away from you. As you reach out through the hands, let that help you to soften the front ribs in and to lift the back ribs up, letting that help you to find a little more steady connection down to the ground. And then softening the shoulders onto the back without losing that connection through the front ribs, reach up and out through the arms. Hug in with the outer arms here, drawing them towards your ears. Let that help you to rotate the arms so that you're broadening the space at the top of the neck. And then keeping that space open, reach up and out through the palms, turning them as much towards the sky as you can. Check in with what happens in your back here and see if you can keep using your exhales to zip up through the belly and releasing your exhale from the bottom up towards the top. And inhaling around that connection to find a sense of space through the low back and the chest. Release the arms. Turn the palms back towards you. Take the opposite cross of the fingers and reach the palms away. As you draw the low ribs in, zip up through your belly, hug in with the outer hips. See if you can send your sitting bones back and apart to make more space through the low back. And then keeping that connection, that awareness through the center of the body, let the shoulders stack on top of that support. Again, reach up and out through the arms. Hug the upper arms towards the ears, broadening across the space of the collarbones, the shoulders. Press up through the palms. Release your hands back down, taking a twist. Take the left hand to the right knee, right hand comes back behind you. Use your hands to lengthen your spine, rooting down through the palms, through the sitting bones to rise up through the crown of the head. And then work from the sides of the body and the top of your waist to rotate, letting the hands support the twist rather than forcing your way in, so that you can maintain a feeling of space and lift through the low back. Release back to center. Going the opposite direction, right hand comes to the left knee, left hand comes back behind. Again, take the time to lengthen and align through your back. As you ground down, hug in with the outer hips. Use your exhale to move energy from the bottom of the lungs up towards the top. And as you inhale, expand around that support. Keep feeling into the low back here, making sure that as you twist, it feels comfortable for the space around the sacrum, for the lumbar spine. Release back towards center. One more time, take your twist over towards the right. Connect through the sitting bones here. And see if you can feel your way up, vertebra by vertebra, through your spine, finding a place that feels aligned and balanced for you. And then grounding down into the right sitting bone, take the right hand up away from the mat, and keeping that right sitting bone rooting down, extend your spine up and back to open into the sides of the waist and the outer hips. Give yourself a couple of breaths here and keep rising up as you ground down. Release back up towards vertical, turning back towards the front and taking the twist the opposite direction. Let the right hand come to the left knee and soften your way into the twist. Allow your practice to be about playing with a sense of lightness. As we connect in, it inspires a sense of expansion back out. So use the exhale, use the connection of your legs in towards center to feed space through your back, along your spine, across your chest. And grounding down into the left sitting bone, let the left arm rise up and use that connection down to help you expand through the left side of the body. As you take a couple breaths, notice whether you're collapsing down. Use a connection towards the floor to keep extending up. And making your way back to center. Release the hands and come to downward facing dog. As you set yourself up, as always, have a glance down at the arms, at the hands, letting them be shoulder width distance apart, the lines of the wrists parallel. And ground into the inner hands. Use that connection down through the first finger, through the thumb, to help you broaden across the collarbones and to lift the inner shoulders up, so that you're taking two opposite actions through the arms to help expand through the upper chest and to stabilize the low ribs. Hugging in with the legs, bring a little rotation here through the ribs, extending the right leg, bending into the left knee, taking a little twist towards the side. And coming back to center, start to work a little length through the left leg, bending into the right knee, keeping that space and support across the chest, across the upper back. One more time as you come back to center, extend through the right leg, bending into the left knee. Making your way back to center, reverse towards the left. Making your way back to downward facing dog, reach out through the arms, hugging in with the outer hips. Use each exhale to connect a little more deeply into the center of the body so that you can lengthen your spine by reaching the hips, the sitting bones up towards the sky. If you like, you can work the legs towards straight, focusing more on keeping the low back nice and long than on working the legs. Make your way up to the top of the mat. As you find a forward fold, start with the feet hip-width distance apart. Get active through the feet, lifting and spreading the toes, and let that help you to find a sense of lift from the arches of your feet up through your inner thighs, all the way into the hip flexors. And in balance with that connection up, root down from the outer hips through the bones of the legs to the corners of the feet, letting the toes soften down whenever you're ready, but keeping that connection through the legs. With your inhale, extend your spine out long. Maybe the fingers stay down on the mat. Maybe you lift your hands up to your knees, finding a place where you can really extend back through your hips, long through the crown of your head. And keep that length as you fold, bending your knees any amount you need to let the fingertips connect down. 2 more times with your inhale, extend. With your exhale, release from the bottom of the lungs up towards the top to fold yourself in. 1 more time. As you extend, see if you can keep that support from your center, broadening across the low back, across the collarbones as you inhale. And keep that space as you exhale, using the release of your breath to align from the hips, the low back, all the way up through the shoulders, along your neck to the crown of the head. Bring your hands to your hips, reach back through the heels to activate the backs of the legs, and return to standing. Release your hands. As you exhale, turn the palms towards the back. Draw in and up through your belly button, lifting the back ribs. Keeping that space through the back body, ground down through the legs as you lift up through the heart. Broaden your collarbones, let the shoulders soften on top of that support. Use your exhale to spiral in so that the release of your breath helps to align the center of your body. Keep that support and breathe around it. As the shoulders move back, the arms reach up towards the sky. Bring your hands down through center as you fold. Soften at the knees here to really reach back through the top of the thighs. Use your inhale to extend long, and your exhale to fold. Bring your hands to your hips, reach back through the heels. Use the strength of the back of the legs to help you come back to standing. With your exhale, spiral in, broaden across the back here, experimenting with how to make space through the back without rounding into the lumbar spine. And as you inhale, play with letting that support help you to find a place that feels neutral and extended for the shoulders, for the neck, all the way up through the fingers and down through the legs. Fold your way down. See if you can keep that space as you fold, focusing on how your breath helps you to align the center of your body. As you extend out long, keep drawing the low ribs in and moving the back ribs away from your hips. Bound fold. Use an inhale to rise. With your exhale, spiral in. As you inhale, keep the space across the low back, across the collarbones. Let the arms feel like they float towards the sky. As you fold, reach the heels, the hips back behind you, pushing the heels out towards the sides, but keeping the knees pointing forward. Inhale to lengthen. This time, bring your hands down onto the mat. Keep the shoulders light, side body long. Walk your feet back to down dog. Move the tops of the thighs back, the upper arm bones forward, so that you're supporting length and space through the center of the body. Let the back ribs and the front ribs feel like they're balanced with one another, so that the rib cage isn't collapsing towards the mat. Keeping that space, come forward to plank. With the knees up or down, broaden the collarbones, hug the tips of the shoulder blades and the low ribs towards one another, and come all the way to the mat. Reach the toes back behind you, using your breath to move through cobra. As you exhale, release the breath from the bottom towards the top so that you feel strong and connected to your center. As you inhale, broaden across the low back, across the collarbones. Notice how that creates a sense of lightness. As you exhale, connect in towards center. This time, as you inhale, use that lightness to float up into cobra pose. With your exhale, soften. Come back down to the mat. 2 more times. As you curl up, pull the hands towards the back to send your heart forward, making sure the low back stays long. As you release down, let your breath move from the bottom up towards the top to help continue to connect in. One final time, on top of that support, use your back muscles to lift any amount and soften. Tuck your toes, take your hips back up, downward facing dog. Take the time to make space first. Use your exhales to help you connect in and up, letting the low ribs reach towards your sitting bones, letting your back ribs move towards the back of your head. Hug in with the arms, broaden across the collarbones, release that space around the base of the neck to engage into the outer arms. Then do the same with the legs. Hug in. As you hug in, keep the knees pointing forward, but reach your sitting bones back and apart. Make your way back up to the top of the mat. As you fold down and in, cross the left foot back behind the right, either bringing the pinky toes in line with one another or bringing some space between the feet. Ground down into the inner edge of that left foot. As the left foot grounds down, ground into the inner edge of the right foot as well, so that you're wrapping the legs around one another to stretch into the outer hip and thigh. Bring the feet back to parallel. Cross the other way. Ground the inner edge of that right foot down, and ground down into the inner edge of the left foot as well. Bring your feet back to parallel. Bring your hands to your hips. Activate the backs of the legs as you come back up to standing. Release your hands. As you exhale, zip up through your belly. As you inhale, broaden around that support. Float the arms to the sky. Reaching down and out through the right foot, grab a hold of the right wrist, take the upper body over towards the left. Hug in with the outer hips and lift through the back ribs. Come back to standing. Switch the clasp. Send your hips to the left, upper body towards the right. See if you can push the heels back and apart here. And let that help you to play with how you connect deep into the center of the body to extend a little more freely. And come back to center. And fold your way back down to touch the mat. As you inhale, extend your spine. Bring the hands down. Make your way back. Downward facing dog. Lengthen out first. Move the upper arm bones forward, the tops of the thighs back, using your exhale to connect in and up through center. And come forward. Keeping the connection in, press the floor away from you. Let that help you to broaden across the upper back and to draw the low ribs in. And keeping the ribs steady and strong, melt the back of the heart. Let the shoulder blades move towards one another without letting the ribs move forward. 2 more times. Press into the arms. Draw your upper back towards the sky. Keeping the support at the base of the rib cage, soften at the back of the heart. Let the shoulder blades move on the back. 1 more time. Push out through the arms. Draw in through the ribs. Melt your heart towards the mat. Keeping that support, come down to the floor. Reach back through the toes. This time come up onto your fingertips. Take the hands a little wider. Hug the fingertips in to connect into the upper back and lengthen the sides of your waist. Reach back and out through your toes from your outer hips. Draw your ribs, your shoulders forward, gliding the heads of the arm bones back. And when you're ready, rise. This time we'll stay lifted for a couple breaths. Use each exhale to draw in and up through your belly so that that support can keep your back long as you open into the upper chest. Make your way back down to the mat. Place your hands. Make your way back, down dog. playing with this feeling of length and space. Hugging with the arms broaden across the collarbones. And keeping the toes pressing down, soften your knees down towards the mat. As you reach the hips back, work the legs towards straight, keeping the femur bones grounding back. 2 more times. Let the knees soften down. Press into the hands here, broadening into the upper back. And then keeping that length, let the hips rise back up. 1 more time. Let the knees soften down. Reaching long through the spine. Work the legs towards straight, keeping the low back extended and free. And walk the feet back up to the top of the mat. Come back to Uttanasana, forward fold. Bring your hands back behind your hips, interlace your fingers. Draw your shoulders towards your ears. Broaden the collarbones. Use your exhale here to zip up through the belly. Your inhale to broaden across the collarbones, and let that help you to lift the hands away from the hips. As you open into the upper back, let each exhale help you to connect in and up through the muscles of your center. And each inhale to help you broaden across your collarbones, reaching up through the arms as they come forward. Then staying strong with the legs, rise back up. Release your hands. With your exhale, spiral in. With your inhale, lift your heart, float the arms to the sky. Bring your hands down through center, back and fold. Let your belly come to touch your thighs here. Activate the inner thighs by drawing up from the arches, pressing the heels apart. From the outer hips, ground down through the corners of the feet. And then keeping your belly and your thighs touching, work the stretch into the back of the legs by lifting up through the sitting bones so that you keep your upper body, your belly and your upper thighs connected. Take a couple breaths here, finding whatever edge feels right for you. Then keeping that alignment through the hips, use your inhale to extend out long, floating your upper body away from the strength of your legs. See if you can keep that alignment through the hips and the thighs, keeping the femur bones grounded back. Bring the hands down, walk back with the feet. Keep extending the spine, bending into the knees, letting your belly, your thighs come towards one another to really ground the femur bones back. And use the strength of the legs to extend a little more fully. Come forward to plank. Use your exhale to come down to the mat. Reach back through the toes. This time bring the hands back behind the hips, interlacing the fingers. Use your exhale to zip up through the belly, hugging in with the outer hips, broadening through the low back so the sitting bones are moving back and apart. And then draw up from your thigh muscles, your glutes towards the low ribs, and let that help you to soften the shoulders back. Moving with your breath, use your inhale to rise. Your exhale to soften. 2 more times. As you rise up, if you like, you can lift the hands away from the hips. And as you release, soften back towards the mat. 1 more time. Reach back through the toes here as you rise. And as you come back down to the mat, let your arms soften down by your sides. Take a moment to pause and rest. When you're ready, make your way back, down dog. Again, use the bend in the knees here to really keep the leg bones moving back and the strength of your hands connecting down to keep the upper arm bones moving forward. Reaching back through the right heel to support that connection deep into the hips. Take the left leg up. Hug in with the outer hips. Broaden across the back, zipping up through the belly. And bend the left knee. As you open your hips towards the left, keep reaching the right heel, the right hip back so that you don't collapse into the right side. And move the left foot back behind you. And then work that left leg towards straight. the left foot come back down. Taking the right side. As you lift the right leg, soften into the left knee, reach back through the left hip, the left heel, hugging in with the outer hips, working that right leg long. And bend into the right knee. As you turn towards the side, keep reaching back through that left heel and hip. And then start to work the leg towards straight. Release that foot back down to the mat. Come back to down dog. Step the right foot forward. Moving towards a lunge, activate the feet. Scissor the legs towards one another to square the hips. And see if you can connect back to that release of the breath from the bottom of the lungs up towards the top on the exhale. And use the inhale to expand around that support. When you feel balanced and connected, bring the hands up onto the front thigh. Keep squaring into the hips here. Release the arms. Root down through the back toes. Let that left heel rise up towards the sky to ground the left thigh back. And when you're ready, take the arms up. Broaden into your back, drawing the front ribs in. And extend up through the crown of your head, down through the bones of your legs. Add a twist. Let the hands come to center. Left elbow comes to the outer edge of the right knee. Be mindful of the connections through the legs here. And let that help to support your spine as you rotate to the side. If it's comfortable for your shoulders and upper back, you can bring that left hand down to the outer edge of the right foot. If not, bring it down to center. Take the right arm up towards the sky. And reaching the right hip back, reach long through the right arm. Release the hand down. Step back, down dog. Let the left foot come forward. Again, as you find your lunge, connect with the legs. See if you can feel how drawing up from the arch invites the inner thighs and the sitting bones to move back and apart. And let the exhale here help you to continue drawing that energy in and up to support the low ribs. As you inhale and broaden across the back body, see if you can use that space to help you ground down into the corners of the feet. When you're ready, rest. Keep scissoring the legs. Again, rooting down through those right toes to send the right heel up towards the sky. Release the hands, take the arms up. Feel into your back here. Keep softening the front ribs, down the back ribs, up until you find a place that feels balanced for you, bending more deeply into the front knee if that feels good. The hands come down to center. Use an exhale to take a twist. Right elbow towards the outer edge of the left knee. Connect back up from the inner thighs here. Again, using your exhale to help you create support, and your inhale to expand into the twist. If you did so on the other side, expand the arms. Right hand moves down, left arm moves up. And then extend forward through the left arm, back through the left hip. Release your hand down. Step back, down dog. Bring the right foot forward. Or the left heel down. Have a glance at the feet. Make sure the front heel is about in line with the back arch. And then find that same connection through the feet. As you draw up from the arches into the center of the body, hug in with the outer hips to take the sitting bones and inner thighs back and apart, finding a place where you feel broad through your back and powerful through your center. To balance that energy drawing in and up, from your outer hips and your low ribs, press down into the soles of the feet until your fingertips feel light. And then use an inhale to come all the way up, warrior two. As you take your arms out towards the sides, imagine you were holding basketballs in your hands. Claw into the fingers. Let that activate the center of your palm and connect you into your upper back. Scoop the palms up. Notice how that changes the connection into the upper back. Soften the low ribs in and use that to help you extend that upper back connection all the way out through the crown of the head. And then turn just the palms down. Keeping that support, bring the right elbow down onto the right thigh. Take the left arm forward overhead, palm facing down. Keep clawing into the fingertips here to keep bringing energy into the upper back. And look towards your belly to help you send a little more length through the low spine, rooting the hips back. And then drawing up from your belly with each exhale, use that support to help you extend through the fingers. If you'd like, you can bring the right fingers all the way down to touch the mat, pressing the right shoulder, the right upper arm into the inner knee. And then let the left hand come down. Shift back, down dog. Taking the other side. Left foot moves forward. Right heel spins down. Again, finding that same alignment with the feet. And then taking the time to really connect up through the channels of the legs. Try reaching back through both heels here and letting the base of the knee, the top of the shin, feel like it presses forward to start to experiment with how to create a little deeper integration up at the hips. Keeping the femur bone softening back, a sense of connection through the core of your body. Rise, make your way up, warrior two. Playing with that same action through the arms, claw into the fingertips. As the arch of the palms connect, use that to bring energy into the upper back. Scoop the palms up. Looking towards your belly, soften the front ribs in and down. And let that help you to balance between front and back body to extend a little more freely through the crown of the head. And then turn just the palms down. Check in with that front knee here. Make sure it stays pointing straight forward. Moving into Parsvakonasana, the left forearm come down, right arm extends out long. Keep activating the hand here. Let that help you to bring a little focused attention into the upper back, and then use that to help you draw the low ribs in and to reach a little longer through the low spine, reaching the hips back so that you can extend more freely out through the fingertips. If you did so on the other side, you can let the left hand come down. Pressing the left shoulder into the knee, drawing that left hip underneath you. And then let that right hand come down. Step back, down dog. One final time. The right foot come forward. This time moving towards triangle, pivot the back foot down. Bring the right forearm up onto the right thigh. And connect up through the thigh, down through the forearm. Let that help you to shift the hips towards the back so that you're grounding more deeply into the hips. And reaching your right heel towards the back of the mat, start to extend the right leg. Let the right fingers reach down. Turning from your waist, from your upper chest, let the left arm make its way up towards the sky. Ground down through the outer edge of that left hip here and reach both heels towards the back to help you find a little more support from your center. Moving to Ardha Chandrasana, let the left hand come down onto the hip. Shift forward to balance, bringing the right fingers down underneath the shoulder, coming forward with the upper body to create the space to rise up through the left leg. When you're steady, you can take the left arm towards the sky. If you'd like, you can add the thigh stretch. As you catch the foot, soften a little at the right knee and reach the right heel back to really ground back through the hip. And then hugging in with the left knee to broaden through the back, start to kick that left foot back behind you, keeping the hips, the chest opening towards the left side of the mat. Gently release the foot, unwind it back out long, coming back to half moon. Then bringing the left hand down to the mat, square your hips. Again, bend a little at the right knee to reach the right heel and the right hip back. You can bring the right thumb right to the top of the hip crease, pressing it back. And then start to work the left leg towards straight. As you straighten, you'll find it's very difficult to keep the hips square. Grounding down through the left hand. If it feels good for your back, you can start to turn your chest open towards the right. And lifting through that left heel, maybe let the right arm extend up towards the sky. And let the right hand come down, continuing to reach back, grounding that right femur bone, come into standing splits. As the right hip grounds back, let the left leg extend up and out. And then release that left foot down. Come back to a forward fold. Take a moment to pause here, letting your belly come to your thighs. Shifting back through the femur bones and the hips to lengthen through your back. Maybe bringing the hands to the elbows, letting the crown of your head extend down towards the mat. And then making the way to the other side, step back into down dog. The final side, left foot will come forward. Right heel will pivot down. Again, bring the left forearm up onto the left thigh. Press the left thigh up, left forearm down. Again, letting that help you to shift back through the femur bones to find as even a space as you can between the left side of the body and the right side of the body. Drawing back through the left heel, pressing through the left big toe, start to work the left leg towards straight. Notice whether the femur bone pops forward and see if you can keep pressing up through the thigh to shift the top of the leg back. The left fingers extend down, right arm reaches up towards the sky. If you'd like, you can touch your fingertips down or stay lifted if that's more comfortable. Just as you did working into the upper back, draw the shoulder blades more deeply onto the back and soften the ribs in to meet them to extend a little more freely all the way along your spine in both directions. Making your way to half moon. Right hand comes down. Turn your gaze towards the mat for a balance. Shift the left hand forward. And turn your chest open towards the side. Take a little bend in that left knee to root the left heel, the left femur bone back. When you're steady, and take the top arm up towards the sky. If you're adding the thigh stretch, bend into the knee, grab a hold of the foot or the ankle. Again, soften at the knee here, ground back through the left hip, the left femur bone, and hug in with the right knee. Use that support to help you play with turning open and kicking the foot back behind you. Gently release. Soften towards the mat here. As you turn, as you bring both hands down, square the hips. Again, bend into the left knee. Reach the left heel, the left hip back. Bring the thumb right to the top of the hip crease, right at the very top of the thigh. And press that hip back behind you. Maybe straightening the leg, maybe not. And then reach back through the right heel. If you feel comfortable here, keep the inner thighs active. Start to turn open through your ribs and your chest, continuing to reach back through that left heel. Maybe take the arm up towards the sky. Release the hand down. Keep reaching back through the left hip as you come into standing splits. Release the foot down. Make your way back, downward facing dog. With your inhale, float your heart forward, zipping up through the belly with your exhale. Inhaling, broadening and expanding through the center of your body. Then keep that space as you fold. Press down into the fingers here. Use that to help keep more space across the collarbones and more freedom around the base of the neck. One more time, inhale, lengthen forward. Exhale. Use the release of the breath from the bottom towards the top to help you fold in towards your legs. Then use your hands to help you to come all the way down onto your back. As you come to lay down, take a moment to soften into the support of the floor. Notice this alignment between the front body and the back body that we've been playing with today. And continue to let each exhale move from the bottom up towards the top if you can. And each inhale to broaden around that sense of support, letting that help you to continue to stay light through the space around your heart and supported and connected towards your own inner strength. Moving towards the thread the needle, bend the right knee, bring the right ankle onto the left knee. Activate the arch of the foot, flexing the toes back, hugging in with the shin and the ankle, bringing it towards you to help you broaden and expand the inner thighs, the sitting bones back and apart. As you reach your sitting bones towards the ground here, let each exhale help you to draw in and up through the belly. And then keeping your low back feeling spacious, draw the left knee in towards you. Again, if it's too deep to clasp back behind the thigh, use the strap to help make the arms longer, connecting between the hands. To go deeper, press the thigh back into your hands to reach the left hip away from you, and then reach the outer edge of the right hip towards the left front corner of the mat to turn that right thigh out towards the right. Drawing the left knee in closer here will also intensify the stretch. Make sure you keep your spine long along the mat, resisting the tendency to curl the hips up to bring the low back all the way down to the floor. Either stay here, keeping the hands back behind the thigh, or if you prefer, catch around the shin, bringing the hand to the foot or the ankle, or tucking the sole of the foot into the crook of the elbow, wrapping the arm around the outside, and let the left leg extend out long. Or if it's more comfortable, you can bend at the knee, bringing the sole of the foot to the mat. Reach the outer edge of the right hip away from you here. Feel into your back. And as you play with allowing your breath to help you find a different connection between front body and back body, let that extension of your spine help you to continue to reach the sitting bones down towards the ground and apart. And out of that length and space, let your exhales help you to support expansion through the back by zipping up through the belly. Once you found a comfortable edge for you, keep flexing the foot, spreading that pinky toe out wide to stay really strong through the ankle and the shin. And keeping the knees supported, add a gentle rock of the leg from side to side. Go slowly enough here that you can feel how that stretch shifts and changes as you move the leg. Go one more time to each side. And then to release, draw the left knee in to support the right ankle. And as you release the hands, let both feet come back down to the mat. Taking the left side. When you're ready, left knee comes in. Left ankle comes onto the right knee. As you set up on this side, reach both sitting bones down towards the mat. Hug in with the outer hips, really bringing space through the back and a sense of deep power and connection through the center of the body. Flexing the left foot, spreading the toes apart. Find a place where the knee feels supported, outer thigh feels like it's rotating out towards the left. And when you're ready, draw the right knee in, again catching back behind the thighs or using a strap. Keep reaching the sitting bones towards the mat here. what we're trying to find is a place where the low back is long and extended, not brought all the way down to the mat, curling forward, nor arched extra away from the floor, so that the low ribs still feel like they soften in and down, and the low back feels like it can extend long to really support the work in the outer hips. Again, if you have deeper to go, you can reach the outer edge of the left hip away from the left shoulder, continuing to press the right thigh into the hands, maybe bringing the right knee closer, making sure that your knees feel strong and supported. Again, either stay here with the hands clasped, or if you prefer the variation, catching a hold of the shin and the foot, or even placing the foot into the elbow crease, wrapping the arms around, just as you need to find the right place for you. That might be different from the other side, depending on how much tension this hip holds. As you breathe here, come back to that action of exhaling from the bottom up towards the top, and inhaling around that support from the top down towards the bottom. And see if you can allow that balancing of the breath to help you find a place that feels more connected and aligned through your own center. When you're ready, whichever leg variation, arm variation you're taking, start to rock that left leg, letting the left knee come wide, letting the left foot move over towards the right, making that action as much about moving the leg and stabilizing the hips in the center of the body as you can. Go one more time to each side, and keeping the foot, the shin, the ankle active so that the knee stays really supported, working into the outer hips. And then as you bring the leg back to center, reach the outer edge of that left hip away. And to release, draw the right knee in and clasp the hands. Let both feet soften back down to the mat. Then from your back, make your way over onto your left side. We'll be moving towards Vastisthasana here as you come over onto the left. Come over onto the outer edge of the left hip. Place the left hand so that it's in line with the hip, but with the wrist forward of the shoulder. Or bring your forearm all the way down towards the mat if that's more comfortable for the wrists. With the forearm down, there's less ability to move through the shoulder, but the wrist isn't flexed. With the palm down, there's more space to connect the shoulder into the upper back, but the wrist and the hand bear more of the weight of the body. So choose a place that feels right for you. Extend the left leg out long. Start by stepping that right foot up and over. The more you move the foot up towards the hip, the more stretch you'll get into the outer edge of the right hip. So choose a place in line with the knee or a little higher, working with whatever feels best in your body. Ground down through the outer edge of that left hip, press down into the left hand, and as you lengthen the side body, bring your hand to your armpit. Draw your shoulder up towards the ear, and then use your hand to guide it back. You should feel not only the collarbones broaden, but the muscles across the upper back turn on. Keeping that connection, press down into the outer edge of the left foot, into the right foot. Take your hips up away from the mat. Keep pressing down into the base of the right big toe. Draw the right hip back here to start to bring a stretch across the outer hips. If you don't feel a stretch, you can walk the right foot closer towards the hip to bring a little more action and expansion across the outer hip. And take the top arm, reach it up towards the sky. Continuing to press down into the outer edge of the left foot, the sole of the right one. Melt your way back down to the mat, keeping the shoulder grounding back. And switch to the other side. As you extend out long through the right leg, again, place either the hand or the forearm down, balancing out, working with what your body needs. And step the left foot forward. Again, the more it comes towards the hip from the knee, the more intense things will be through the outer hip. So feel free to adjust as you need to. Bring the left hand to the right armpit. Lengthen the side body. This provides more clearance for the head of the arm bone to move back. And use your hand to guide that shoulder back. To stabilize the upper back, the upper arm will turn out towards the top of the mat as you ground down through the inner hand. Keep the base of the index finger, the thumbs, rooting down, arch of the hand active to stay plugged into the upper back. Connecting down through your feet, start to lift the hips. As you lift, draw that right shoulder back as if it were scooping up your heart, and press firmly down into the left foot, drawing that left hip back. Again, walking the foot forward a little bit if you need a little more intensity. And take that left arm, reach it up towards the sky. Soften and release. We'll come through Vastisthasana one more time, this time to move towards Wild Thing. Make your way back over onto the outer edge of the left hip. Again, as you place the hand will be in line with the shoulder. And we'll start with the foot back behind, the right foot back behind the left leg, so that as we take our hips up, we can turn a little more deeply open towards the sky. Notice the shoulder on that left side likes to pull forward. This is a very unsupported position for the shoulder. We need that shoulder to stay anchored back. So lengthen through the side body, draw the shoulder back using the right hand to guide it if that helps you. And really firm the shoulder blade into the upper back. Soften in with the ribs, zipping up through the belly with the exhale. Inhaling, broadening the collarbones, supporting that shoulder to move back. You might feel that that helps you to lift up through the center of your chest. Making sure the shoulders feel good, coming out if you need to. Press down into the outer edge of the left foot, to the sole of the right foot. Start to rise up into Vastisthasana. Scoop that shoulder more deeply underneath you until it starts to turn your chest open, scooping up your heart, and let that help you to turn any amount towards the sky. You can take that right arm, reach it up. You can also bring the right hand back behind your head, press your head into your hands, curling back. With control, gently release, keeping that left shoulder back. One final time, coming to the right, extend the right leg long, left foot will step back behind the right. Place the hand forward of the shoulder. Lengthen the side body, firm the shoulder blade into the upper back. Use your exhale to draw in and up, your inhale to broaden and expand. Keeping the shoulder blade hugging the upper back, ground down to rise up. As you rise, scoop up your heart with your shoulder blade, turning the upper arm out. Let that help you to open up towards the sky any amount. Take the top arm, reach it up. Maybe bring the hand back behind the head, pressing your head into your hands to curl your chest open. Keeping the shoulder back, soften and release. Make your way to a tabletop position. From your table, bring the forearms down, and then coming to the backs of the elbows, lift your hands up towards the mat, bring your palms together, letting the elbows stay shoulder width distance apart. Press the elbows down to lift up through the arm bones, as if you were hollowing out your armpits. If you need a little more space, you can walk the knees a little further back. Let the hands soften towards the back of the head, and without collapsing at the ribs, let your hips reach back towards your heels. Keep drawing the elbows down into the mat here. And use that connection through the arms to help you lengthen the muscles of the back. Pressing the fingertips together as if you were holding an egg in the palms of the hands. Let the arches of the hands activate. Let the palms of the hands move apart. Noticing how that changes the feelings and sensations through the upper arms. And gently release. Make your way back to table. Moving towards a stretch for the thigh, come all the way down onto your belly. If you'd like, take a moment to soften your forehead down, resting into the support of the mat. Find your way back into the flow of your breath, letting each exhale move from the bottom up, each inhale move from the top down. Let that help to balance the front and the back body so that you continue to draw a little more connection in through the front ribs and to create a little more length and space through the low back. Keeping the support from the front body, make your way up onto your forearms. Aim to place the elbows underneath the shoulders and to bring your forearms parallel to one another. Now, look in towards your belly. Let that help you to lengthen the front ribs in and down so the back ribs are rising up. And extend out through your toes, letting the pinky toes ground down to stay broad through the back. Keeping that, start to soften the ribs down. Let that help you to lift your heart and chest and broaden the collarbones, letting the shoulder blades move into the upper back. If this is too intense for your low back, walk the elbows forward. Or let more of your belly come down onto the mat so that you're really working the curve into the upper spine, the thoracic spine, rather than the lumbar spine. Keep reaching from your low ribs out through your toes and lengthening up from your back ribs all the way through the crown of your head. Keeping the collarbones broad, outer hips hugging in to keep the low back nice and broad. We'll move to add a thigh stretch. Bend the right leg, keeping the knees hugging in. With your right hand, reach back to catch the foot. Kick your toes into your hands and broaden your collarbones, activating those same muscles in the upper back that we did with Vastisthasana. To go deeper, draw the heel towards your hip and ground down through the left forearm so that you're squaring your hips towards the mat. Make sure your low back feels good here. Using the exhales to continue to connect into that inner support and guiding that right shoulder back so that you stay supported from the back body. Gently release. As you soften down, either make your way back into Sphinx, or if you need a break, let your forehead come down onto your hands. Making your way back to center. Come back up onto the forearms. Again, take the time to find a balance through the front body and the back body so that as you curl into the upper back, you feel long and spacious through the low back. When you're ready, adding the thigh stretch to the left, bend the left leg, reach back with the left hand. As you catch the foot, I like to catch it from the inside so that I can draw the shoulder back and let the elbow move up towards the sky if the arm is bending. Hug both knees in. Click the toes back into your hands to keep the left leg active. And use the grounded connection of that right arm and right elbow to help you guide that left hip down towards the mat. Make sure your knees feel good here as you open into the quads. And keep lengthening back through the legs to stay spacious through the low back. Gently release. Again, come all the way down to rest. If there's any tension at all through the low back, you can give your hips a little rock from side to side. And then setting up for a back bend. make your way onto your back. As you come to lay down, place the soles of the feet down to the mat, aiming to get the ankles underneath the knees, the feet hip-width distance apart and parallel. And check in with the alignment of your hips. Make a triangle, touching the thumbs and the pointer fingers together, and let that come down to rest on your pelvis, so that the pointer fingers are at your pubic bone, your thumbs are at both of your hip points, your as-is bones. And bring that triangle parallel to the floor. Let that help you to make a little space through the low back. And then to support that alignment, hug in with the outer hips, activate the inner thighs. Let that help you to turn on a deep sense of support in the center of the body, finding a place where your low back feels free and extended, spine feels long. Hugging in with the shins, continuing to broaden the sitting bones back and apart to support the low spine. Come into robot arms. Lengthen the side body, grounding the shoulders, the upper arms, the elbows, even the back of the head back towards the floor. And let your exhales help you to continue to draw in and up through your belly, and your inhales to broaden and expand across the low back and across the chest. As you balance those forces, root down into the feet. See if you can continue to keep your back broad as you lift your hips up away from the mat. If you like, you can clasp the hands and rooting the shoulders back and down, broadening the collarbones. And then soften, release back down to the mat. Two more times. Come into robot arms. Find that active connection from the outer hips, the inner thighs, even from the feet themselves, to help you expand and support the low back. And then letting your exhales help you to connect in and up, your inhales to help you broaden and lift your heart. Root down to the feet. Come into your bridge. And you can clasp the hands. If you like, you can extend the arms, palms face up, and walk the feet in a little bit, bringing the soles of the feet onto the hands, hugging in with the outer hips, moving only as far into the back bend as feels good to you, keeping the low back feeling long and spacious. Soften and release. We'll take one final back bend here. If you'd like, you can make that wheel, bringing the palms of the hands down, or another version of bridge, another round of bridge. They're placing the arms in this robot arm position, clasping the hands, or extending the fingertips towards the heels. If you're coming into wheel, get active with the legs. See if you can draw some energetic triangles on the feet, rooting down through the centers of the heels, extending out along the pinky toe side, bringing that energy across to the big toe, back to the center of the heel again, really turning on a deep sense of support from the center of your body, a really expansive sense of space across the back body. Then creating that same energetic connection with the hands, start with the right hand. Come into robot arms, elbow down, activate the palm. Use clawing into the fingers to help you start the process of drawing the right shoulder back. Scoop that hand towards you, just as you did when we were in Warrior Two. Now, keeping that connection into the upper back, place the palm, letting the elbow rotate up, palm of the hand ground down with the fingertips pointing towards the heels. Do the same on the left. Come into robot arms, activate the hand, let that connect you into your upper back. Scoop the palm forward, deepening that connection, and then holding that strength, bring the palm down. You might find that this is enough back bend for you. If so, stay right here, really working that connection into the upper back, and then engaging with your exhales to continue to make the low back long. If you feel like you have the space to go deeper, press down into the feet. As you lift the hips, press down into your hands. Maybe come to the crown of your head, drawing the shoulders deeply back, or maybe press into the palms, lifting up. As you rise up, keeping the low back open, move your heart forward, shoulders back. Gently release. and come down to rest. As you soften down, let the feet come wider to the outer edges of the mat. And moving into windshield wipers, let the knees come over towards the right. You want the left knee to be about in line with the left hip. Let the knees, the shins, extend down towards the mat. If it feels good, you can place the right ankle on top of the left knee. And then take the arms overhead, either holding on at the wrists or, for a little more intensity, in the shoulders, tucking the points of the elbows into the palms of your hands. Let each exhale, as you release from the bottom up towards the top, help you to soften the shins and the knees down towards the mat. And each inhale to help you broaden the elbows, the collarbones apart as you open into the upper shoulders. Let the arms rise up. Have a glance at which forearm is on top. Switch the cross of the forearms. And then let the knees rise back up. Coming to the other side, keeping the feet wide. The knees make their way over towards the left. Feel down through the legs here. Can you want to end up with the right knee about in line with the right hip? And if it's comfortable, you can add a little extra grounding weight by letting that left knee come on top of the right one. Again, holding on with the hands. Broaden the elbows out towards the sides if you're holding on at the elbows. If you're holding on at the wrists, use that same action to find some space around the base of the neck. Release the hands. Let the knees come back up towards the sky. Draw both knees in towards you. As the knees come in, give them a gentle hug. But as you invite the knees in towards your chest, press your shins into your forearms or into your hands, wherever you're catching a hold. And use that to help you lengthen through your back. Continuing to lengthen through the spine, release the hands. Hug the knees in towards one another. Come into a cactus position with the arms. Really ground the shoulders back and apart. If it's more comfortable, you can extend the arms out like a T. And hugging in with the legs, keeping the shoulders grounding down, let the knees travel over towards the right. As the knees come down, keep the left shoulder on the ground. If you need to, release the left leg down, let the left knee stay lifted. Or if you have the space to rotate more deeply, being mindful of the low back, the space around the sacrum, you can work the knees as much towards stacked as feels good, but keep the shoulders on the mat. Ground the outer edge of that right hip down, broadening across the low back. And let your inhales fill up that space so that you're creating freedom for the low back, freedom in the space around your heart, and using the support of your center to find that balance. The knees rise back up. Check back in with the balance between your upper body and your lower body, shifting the hips if you need to as you switch to the other side. Again, ground back through the shoulders, hug in with the outer legs, let that help you to lengthen through both sides of the waist. And let the knees travel over towards the left. Again, as you move, especially if you know you have tension through the low back or pain around the sacrum, let the left knee come down and keep the right knee rising up any amount you need to be comfortable in the twist. Keeping the shoulders down, drawing the knees towards one another will bring that right hip a little further away from the ground, intensifying the rotation in the twist. Keep rooting the left hip down, broadening across the collarbones, and using each exhale to move the energy from the bottom of the lungs up towards the top. letting that help you to lengthen through the spine. The knees make their way back up. As you soften the arms back down, take a moment just to pause and breathe. Moving towards Supta Gomukhasana, let both knees come back in, cross the right leg over the left, stacking the knees, flexing the feet, grab a hold of what you can reach, backs of the thighs, outer edges of the shins closer to the knees, maybe closer down towards the ankles if that feels comfortable. Make sure the knees feel good, flex the feet, kick the feet any amount out towards the sides as you reach long through your low back, letting your sitting bones extend down towards the ground. And using that steady connection in with your exhale and that expansion across your chest and your low back with your inhale to help you find a place that feels balanced and long through the center of your body to focus the release and the stretch in the outer hips. Release your hold on the shins. Switch the cross, taking the left knee on top. You may find you have to change the position of the hands or the legs from side to side. Find a place where you can lengthen your spine, back of the thighs, closer to the knees, closer towards the ankles, making sure that you focus on lengthening your spine first. Use that length to help you ground the femur bones back so that the low back is long and in neutral. And to go deeper, kick the feet out towards the sides. Let the hands and the shins pull into one another, balancing those opposite forces to help feel your way in towards the right amount of stretch for you. Gently release. The soles of the feet come down to the mat. Taking one final twist, extend the right leg out long, tuck the left toes underneath. Press the top of the foot, the back of the knee into one another to help ground the femur bones back. And use the right hand to guide that left knee over towards the right. How far you come into the twist is totally up to you. Make sure things feel good through your back. Keep grounding the outer edge of that right hip down to help broaden through the back. Letting each exhale continue to help you to lengthen through the back body. Maybe it feels good to let that left shoulder soften back. Maybe it feels good to turn your gaze towards the left, coming in only as far as feels best for you. Release back towards the mat. And extending the left leg long, tuck the right toes back behind. Press the top of the foot up, the knee down, finding a balanced place across the hips and the back. And use the left hand to guide the right knee over towards the left. Make sure you feel long through your spine here. If you need to adjust the position of the hips or the shoulders, please do. Ground the outer edge of the left hip, the left thigh down. Let that help you to stack the right hip, broadening through your center. And soften the right shoulder back. If it feels good and that shoulder is unsupported, you can let that hand rest on your body, letting just the shoulder move back instead. Let the right knee rise up. Release both legs out long and make your way into Shavasana. Come back to that flow of your breath here. Let each exhale soften its way from the bottom up towards the top. And each inhale, start from the top and flow down towards the bottom. Let that ebb and flow of energy through the fabric of your body help you to soften into the support of the floor and help you to melt your mind in towards the lightness and brightness of your heart. As you feel your body soften and surrender, let each inhale breath help your heart and that inner light to glow a little more brightly. And each exhale to help you release any last remaining tension that's no longer serving you down into the support of the earth to be renewed and recycled. If it's not comfortable with your legs extended, bend at the knees. Bring the soles of your feet to the floor, finding a place that feels long and spacious for your back. And give yourself 5 to 10 minutes resting in Shavasana. When and if thoughts come, notice when the thinking starts and choose to shift your attention back to your breath. Connect back into the flow of your inhale and your exhale as often as you need to let your mind to soften into the flow of your breath. And let that help you to let go more and more deeply into the support of the earth back behind you.